loves, and welcome to another episode of OmMade Kitchen. Today, I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite smoothie recipes. I call it my apple pie smoothie. I remember being a kid and the rarity that I went to a birthday party and they happened to have those little apple pies from a fast food chain that we all know about. And I remember thinking, oh my God, this is so tasty and so sweet, because apple pie wasn't really something that I grew up eating. As I got older, I realized that I can make my own apple pie and make it not just taste good, but feel good in my body. So I created this recipe, and you can add a scoop of protein powder in it if you want to make it a little bit more of a protein smoothie. You can make it a little sweeter by adding more sweetener to make it more of a dessert smoothie. Or if you're gonna make it a morning smoothie, I like adding a good hit of ginger to get that little gingery buzz in the morning. Let's do this. So I have 4 apples here and an Asian pear. Now you can use any kind of apples. I always love Pink Ladies or Honey Crisps. I think they give the best flavor, but whatever's available to you. You wanna kind of stay away from Red Delicious for this recipe. The texture of it won't be the same as if you're gonna use one of these other apples. And you can use any pear you have. I happen to have an Asian pear in my kitchen, so I'm gonna do the pear for a little extra sweetness. You don't need to worry about making perfect chunks because it's getting blended. What is important is if you're not using organic apples, which I do recommend using, please make sure to remove the skin. If you're using organic, just give them a really good wash. I'm gonna add some fresh ginger. Now, what I do with my ginger is I get a lot of fresh organic ginger and I peel it, I clean it, and then I cut it up into these little 1-inch chunks and freeze it in my freezer. Now that does 2 things. One, I always have good fresh ginger available. And bonus is that it actually tempers the heat of the ginger, so you can have more ginger and still not have that super spicy flavor in your mouth. You can use powdered ginger, you can use fresh, whatever you have around. I'm gonna make this one a little spicy, so I'm putting actually about 4 inches of ginger. I recommend if you're using fresh not to really use more than 1 inch, and then go from there, because you can always add more and taste test. If you haven't had good dates, you are missing out. I love using medjool. I order mine or get them from a local farmer's market, but you wanna make sure that you get medjool for this recipe because it's really gonna give you a nice sweet, that apple pie caramely flavor. I have pitted or unpitted ones, so I'm gonna pit them and put them in the blender. And we're gonna do the juice of half of a lemon because this guy is super juicy. I always like to roll my lemons out. Helps make the juice more available. And these lemons are amazing. They're from my friend Amir's garden. And if you don't have a strainer, my mom always taught me, wash your hands, and you can use your hands as a little strainer to get all the seeds. It's also the way I infuse a little extra love into my smoothie. We're gonna do the juice of half of it, but if we need, we can always add more juice. And now we're gonna add the spice mixture. So it's gonna be a pinch of salt. We're gonna have some Ceylon cinnamon. We have nutmeg, allspice. I'm gonna add a little bit of dried orange peel. That's optional, you don't have to. I like adding that little bit of citrus kick, and definitely some good quality vanilla. We're gonna add a little less than half a tablespoon of vanilla. And again, with spices, I'm adding amounts that I would add, but you can really go by what feels right to you. I'm gonna add a teaspoon of the Ceylon cinnamon. Definitely need lots of cinnamon in apple pie, and I like mine very cinnamony, so I'm actually gonna add another half teaspoon. So that's 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg. We're gonna do just a couple shakes of allspice. And again, I have this dried sweet orange peel, and you don't have to do it. It's just, to me, a nice little addition. just a couple pinches of pink salt. So we have all this deliciousness in the blender. And don't forget, when we're blending, infuse your intention into your food. It's such a great opportunity to just take a few breaths and really imagine how you want this food to not just make you feel, but how you want it to nourish your body. So I tried it and I'm adding a little bit more date because I want it to be a little sweeter. Now dates to me is the best sweetener for this smoothie, but you can use maple syrup or honey if that's your preference. You don't need a lot of sweetener, but dates are a great source of iron and fiber, and they're a really nourishing food. So it's great to have in the morning because it'll pack you full of energy and nutrients. So I've added the extra dates, a little extra cinnamon, and I'm adding 5 ice cubes. Now, generally, I don't add a lot of ice or any ice if I can help it to my smoothies. I'll try to use frozen fruit or something like that so that I'm not diluting the smoothie, 1. And 2, I don't like drinking a lot of really cold things. Depending on the season, depending on your body type, having cold food in the morning can actually numb your stomach a little bit. So just working with kind of what works for me. I'm only gonna use 5 ice cubes for this big batch of smoothies. I wish this was scratch and sniff, but you'll have to trust me, it definitely smells amazing. And you get a nice thick smoothie, but yet it'll be super light. Oh man, yes. It takes me back to that moment where you eat that apple pie and you just have that warm appley spice flavor in your mouth, but it's super light. Because we're using so much apple, the fiber really makes it whipped and light, so it doesn't feel like a heavy thing, but you get that nostalgic flavor of apple pie in your mouth. And what a way to start your day, end your day, middle of your day. And this is one of those anytime smoothies. And like I said, feel free to adjust the recipe to make it more appropriate to your tastes. For me, this is perfect. I can taste the ginger, I taste the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and all the spices, and I get a little sweetness from the dates and the apples and that little Asian pear, but it's not overwhelmingly sweet. And cheers to good health. Don't forget the most important ingredient, the secret ingredient, love.